to STMU SET Spotlight, where we explore the stories and people shaping the future of science, technology, and education. I am your host, Dr. Paul Uhlig, Professor and Chair of Mathematics. Today, I'm excited to welcome two students from our nursing program to share their journey at St. Mary's and beyond as they take their steps towards becoming professional nurses. We're joined now by students. Sorry. Backing up a paragraph. We're joined by nursing students Christopher White and Marisol Rangel, pioneering students navigating this exciting path at St. Mary's. Today, we'll talk about what it means to study nursing at St. Mary's, the experiences shaping their journey, and what lies ahead. Let's start at the beginning. What drew each of you to nursing, and why St. Mary's? Marisol, what inspired you to pursue nursing? Was there a specific moment or experience that made it feel like the right path?
So I chose nursing because back in high school, I went to a health professional high school, and I actually intended to pursue veterinary up until going to clinicals back in high school, where I went to a hospital and I was working with a nurse during my shift. And then that's when I started realizing, like, I feel more safe and better here working with a nurse rather than working with a veterinary. And I feel more comfortable talking with the people and the patients. And so because of that, I decided I'm going to pursue working with people than animals. And with St. Mary's, I've actually visited St. Mary's back my junior of high school, and I remember looking at the environment and I really fell in love with it. I fell in love with the landscape, and I'm not religious, but my family is. So I remember telling them, and they saw the campus, they saw the chapels, and they were really amazed to see how beautiful our chapels were. And because of that, I decided I'm going to go to St. Mary's. And since the nursing school here is brand new, I decided I want to be part of the cohort where we start building and shaping the nursing program for future cohorts.
Christopher, what inspired you to pursue nursing?
So it's actually quite a similar story to Marisol. It more had to do with I've always wanted to do something healthcare related. Like I've always wanted to help people, of course. And during my 8th grade year, I was given the application to this school called Health Careers. It was a medical magnet school, and I wasn't even sure if I was gonna go beforehand. I kind of was like, well, I don't want to not be with my friends, but I just felt like trying to go there. And I also went through clinicals like Marisol, and I realized like I really liked helping people. I really liked doing this. I also wanted to get into nursing specifically is because my mom actually wanted to be a nurse, but she ended up changing her career kind of due to me and having kids. And I was like, well, I kind of want to, kind of, I guess the word is walk in her footsteps in reference to that. And then the reason I chose St. Mary's is because it was actually quite similar in structure to the school I went to. Very small classes. You get to really know your professors. And I also wanted to join a new program. I kind of wanted to pioneer that, and I just really wanted to start something new and build something.
Wonderful. So, Marisol, you support first-generation students and youth outreach. Tell us some more about that part of your journey.
So, sorry. Being first generation, especially in nursing, has been a challenge because both of my parents didn't graduate from college. And so since then, we've been trying to navigate how we could support my dreams of nursing school, whether it's financially or even like resource wise. So thankfully, I was able to join organizations such as Trios here on St. Mary's, and they're able to provide me resources and even some tutoring, despite the fact that nursing is a new program. So obviously we don't have a lot of students in Trios that can be mentors. There are actually some STEM students that have helped me regarding some of my science classes, such as microbiology, chemistry, and one of the mentors there has even went far and beyond to recommend resources for nursing, such as maybe recommending study AI tools such as Notebook LM, or like I had my mentor from Trios tell me that support is always there, and whenever I need it the most, whenever I feel down, I feel burnt out, I could always go to them and vent out my feelings. I feel like that's, as a first gen student, that's what we need, because we are navigating this through our own, and especially doing nursing or any other major that maybe your family is not really knowing much about it. I feel like these resources could really help us all.
As a first-gen student myself, I can really identify with the need of supporting somebody on a unique journey. So, Christopher, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced or you see other students facing as they start down a path like this for nursing?
I think there's definitely like a learning curve to it, because I know like back in high school, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I didn't have that good of like a study habit. I mean, I did well on my test, and I did pretty good in general, but I didn't really know how to study. And then I got here and I realized, oh, I have to actually learn how to study. I have to learn how for these things to make sense to me. And I remember we had our chemistry class, and a lot of us were struggling with that class, and we kind of had to just band together eventually and figure it out together. So I think that definitely was a challenge in just learning how to study. I think it's also like the long hours we also have to do. Like for instance, we've had our clinicals. I personally am in the AM group. We start from 6:30. It goes all the way to 12. It's a bit of a struggle having to get up at like pretty much 5, because it's about like 30 minutes away, and I have to give myself enough time to get dressed, get ready, eat. So I would say those are like two big challenges.
How do each of you imagine or envision sharing that with incoming generations of nursing students and the younger cohorts now?
I feel like us sharing our experiences to these nursing students in a very positive way, because there are some downsides, as Chris mentioned. Some of us are here waking up early in the morning, as early as 5. Like for me, I used to actually wake up at 4 in the morning. It's because I got ready, and then I was also cleaning my room. So once I came back, have the day to myself. But also sharing that there are going to be some challenges when it comes to pursuing nursing. You're going to be having long clinical shifts. You're going to have a lot of coursework, and it's okay to take breaks. And I'd say take time for yourself. For the nursing students, don't burn yourself out completely. Don't spend your entire, semester on like reading the material for nursing, because then you're going to get burnt out. You're not going to have time for yourself, and self-care, as our nursing program, all the faculty emphasizes, self-care is really important.
And then for me, I kind of just try to make sure to tell them about any like sort of mistakes I might have made when I first was starting out, just to give them a better perspective on what they should be doing and what they shouldn't. For instance, like as Marisol said, you really need to give yourself time to decompress, because if you just try hitting the books all the time, you're gonna get burnt out, and that's not good for you. That's not good for anyone. Um, I think also you just gotta make sure also to try to keep a social life too, I would say. It is very hard, but you do want people around you, and you want people there that will support you, because this is a very tough program, and we've made it through, and I'm so glad, so blessed we've been doing so well. But I will say you really need to worry about yourself when you're trying to do stuff.
That's wonderful. The interpersonal is an important dimension of the St. Mary's education, and we also emphasize holistic learning. So, How does your program emphasize holistic learning? And what do you see of that in your classes and your experiences?
I love the idea of holistic. They've always emphasized when looking at patients, you don't just consider their physical health, you rather consider their mind, body, and spirit. And I think that's really important because we've learned how to do like certain assessments, not just physical wise, but like learning, okay, do they have a support system? And like learning about spirituality and religion. And that definitely does play a factor in when it comes to doing these assessments on patients because they might be presented with like a certain diagnosis or like a certain finding. And, the main thing you want to ask is like, are you doing okay? Like, what gives you hope or strength? And I think that's really important. Like, we always emphasize the idea of mind, body, and spirit when it comes to working with these patients.
Wonderful. Heart, head, and hand. Christopher.
Well, I would say that they do. I would say the staff very do much care about our mind, body, and spirit. They're always like the teachers are always asking how we're doing, just trying to make sure that we're doing all right. We're not, overstudying stuff like that. I will say also this afternoon we're actually having it's kind of like a cultural appreciation thing, which I really appreciate because he like it's like it's like going beyond just who we are as nurses, but who we are as people as well. And I'm looking really forward to like being able to share a piece of my culture and with my classmates and for our classmates to share a piece of theirs just beyond the scope of nursing.
Y'all have the wonderful experience of being in our newest and most innovation center. Let me try to start that sentence again. I'm sorry. Y'all are having the wonderful experience of being in our newest building on campus, the Blank Shepherd Innovation Center, with its simulation labs and advanced technologies. Say a little bit about the experience that has given you.
It's been really fun, actually. Our nursing building is so unique. The third floor has like, we have hospital suites that make it look like there's actual like hospital rooms up there. And, we don't refer to them as mannequins, but rather patients because, we're going to be practicing simulation with them and they are our patients. And so the technology that they have up there, I know we have a patient in the hospital suite that can talk, breathe, blink his eyes. You could even see his breathing. You can feel his pulses. And I feel like their technology up there is just so amazing for our learning because we could practice our skills up there and like we can even mimic some simulations in order for us to be prepared for like the real life clinical world.
So speaking of simulations, I actually got to be a part of our first one. If I believe my role was, I was the head nurse during the simulation. It was a simulation that had to do with there was a patient fall. There was like a bunch of things we had to identify about the patient. We had to like think on our feet of how to help this patient like off the floor. And honestly, it was a really like stressful situation, but I'm so glad I went through it just because it like really gave me insight into like the sort of situations you go into being a nurse. And it was also a little funny because we had some of our classmates in the simulation acting as like the patient's family, and then the patient was actually Dr. Badowski, and I was like super shocked. I was like, wait, is that Dr. Badowski? But I had to keep staying like character, so that was a really good way to introduce us to our simulations for the first time, I would say.
That sounds like a wonderful kind of experience. And it ties into my next question about adaptation. Okay. And it ties into my next question about adaptation and change and thinking quickly on your feet. How are you feeling like those skills are developing? And do you see yourself on the journey to being a nurse?
So at first I was really nervous about it because there's so much skills that we have to learn and I'm here thinking like, oh my God, like I'm gonna do a wrong skill by accident. But over time you get used to working with your other colleagues, and they are here to help you most of the time. And so, like with the simulations, we actually had a debrief afterwards. And from there, we pointed out, okay, this is what we did right. And then this is what we did wrong. We could always improve on this. Everybody's input was added. And I think that was a really nice moment, not just for the people that were part of the simulation, but rather for all of us, because we're all learning at the end of the day. Like whether we're part of the simulation or even if we're like the observer, even as an observer, you still feel like you're part of the simulation because you're here thinking like, okay, so what if I'm there? What do I do now? What can I do to assist the patient and then like assist with the family?
Yeah.
So actually speaking of that simulation in reference to adaption, so when we first started the simulation, it was all chaos. Like patients on the floor, the family was like, "Oh, you need to help her," and we were just kind of we were really like, "Oh man!" Like me and my partner were really like, "Okay, so what are we gonna do?" We were like just completely thrown off, and then as time went on, me and my partner we started working more cohesively and sort of adapting as you would, and we were able to really work together well and be able to I guess the word is just like collaborate, I guess, well together and how to take care of this patient, what questions to ask, and what exactly like to do whenever when we're like in the situation, I would say.
On behalf of SCT Spotlight, thank you very much to our special guests, Marisol Rangel and Christopher White. We invite everyone to join us again on our next episode as we continue highlighting the people advancing science, engineering, and technology at St. Mary's University. Until then, elevate your excellence, shape excellent tomorrows.